All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Baso. So I'm gonna go over soft tissue massages for your feet. It's good to do before you do any kind of ankle mobility, um, calf mobility, knees, any kind of strengthening of your lower extremities. It is the base and the root of everything as you work your way up. So typically, if you have tightness in your Achilles, you have tightness in your calves, it's best to start with your feet. So we're gonna demonstrate what you'll do. And typically, what I use is a golf ball. It's easy. It's smaller and more dense. It can really get into those pressure points and those knots that's underneath your foot. But before you do anything, make sure you get clearance to the doctor saying it's okay to do it. So if you're suffering from plantar fasciitis, any of that stuff, this is perfect to do. So what I start off typically doing, I like to keep my heel on the ground, and then I work my toes first. I try to put as much pressure, and the ball goes right underneath my toes. So I go through each scenario, and I push down as hard as I can. So I'm going to do 10 times, all the way to my pinky toe and back. That's two. It's not a rush. You want it to go in between each toe. And you see how I'm pushing down and the toes actually come up. If you can't do it, you can kind of help push your foot down as it goes between each toe. Three. Remember, it's not a rush. Four, five, six. As you can see, each knuckle of my toes coming up as the golf ball goes between them. Seven, eight, nine, 10. So after I do those 10, the next area, usually the most tender, and that affects my Achilles the most, is up underneath your big toe and all those tendons that run from your big toe all the way into your heel. Typically, when you have a lot of heel pain, it's usually around in this tendon that's real tender. If you push the ball up against it like that, it's going to be real tender. So typically, I do about 3 minutes, and I work here for about 3 minutes in about here 2 minutes. So I'm gonna just demonstrate for a few minutes. You can go back and hit the other areas of your foot, but typically this is the most tender area. So I start from here and I roll, and I try to apply as much pressure as I can handle. And you want to roll that golf ball all the way up underneath your metatarsal bone and put some pressure in it. Remember, you're not going fast. You want to make sure you get all those tender and knots out of that area. So work on it for about 3 minutes, applying as much pressure as you can. You might not be able to apply as much of pressure as I am if you're not used to doing this. So do that for about 3 minutes, and then you can come to the other areas and massage it. And what I'm looking for is those tender areas in my bottom of my foot. It may be on the side of your foot where it's tender. Just move that golf ball up and down till you find that tender spot. So work those areas for about a minute to 2 minutes. As you see, I'm going back and forth. Also go laterally. Back and forth, side to side. Try to find those tender spots. See, my knuckles cracked. Just keep doing that for about a minute or two. And also the circular rotation, counterclockwise, while applying the pressure on it. And also while you're doing these, you can move your toes up and down. Try to loosen up those tight areas as you're doing those circles. That's counterclockwise, clockwise, and then I come to the side of my foot, all the way on the side, angle it. See, that's upright. This is all the way on the side, and that's real tender for me. So if you do a lot of running, jogging, on your feet a lot, wearing those tight, narrow shoes, you got those toes that angle inwards. This is great to relieve a lot of that tension in your foot. So again, the more tender it is, try to stay in that area for about 2 to 3 minutes. So total, you probably want to do anywhere between 8 and 10 minutes per foot. And you kind of just wiggle your feet, move your feet around as you work that side, get those tender areas. And this, again, this is great for before doing any exercises, before you run, before you start your day. Great to do before you go to bed. Just good, warm, soft tissue massages before and after. And you can do it before and after your exercises or before you start your day, before you go to work. And you want to do this for each foot. So depending on how tender your foot is, spend anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes per foot and then switch to the other foot. Usually one foot is a lot more tender. So whatever foot is the most tender, work that one foot a little bit longer. So you want to work both sides. So after you work the bottom of your foot, then we're going to work on your Achilles and your calves. So once we got that out the way, I'm going to work my way from my feet to my Achilles to my calves and work my way up. So before I get into my exercises, I'm going to apply as much pressure as I can to my Achilles. I'm going to take this lacrosse ball and go back and forth about 10 times. 4, 5, 6, as much pressure I can put, 7, 8. And while you're doing that, you can move your feet back and forth too while you're doing that. It's contracting and retracting your Achilles, trying to get it more. So 10, typically what? But if it's real tender, work on a little bit more. You push down on your foot, on your leg towards the ground if you want more pressure. Depends how much pressure you can handle. Then once I get to that, I start working my way up. So again, I'm looking for that tender spot. I'll spend a minute right here, and then I'll go to the side. Spend a minute on the outer side. Turn my foot inside, turn my body. Work that for about a minute. If that area is the most tender, stay in that area the most. Spend an extra minute in there. And then keep working your way up. Not real tender, spend about a minute on it, then move over outside. If it's not tender, spend about 1 minute, and then roll to the inside. If it's not tender, again, keep working your way up to the meaty part of your calves. 1 minute, rotate to the side, trying to find those real tender areas to break up. Then roll to the inside, same thing. And if you have a hard time doing it, you can actually take the lacrosse ball and just hand. Typically, that inside one is more difficult to get to because of your body. So take your lacrosse ball and apply it. Try not to put too much pressure on your bone. Go all the way around your bone. And then again, work your way all the way up to the top part, almost behind your kneecap. If it's not tender, just spend about a minute and then rotate you to the side. Typically, if you have a lot of Achilles and tight calf issues, it's great to soft tissue the outside. Usually the outside is the most tender areas. So work on that. Spend an extra minute, and then again, take the lacrosse ball, push down on it, massage, trying to break up any kind of knots that's in those muscles. So again, I recommend this throughout the day, before, after exercising, before and after work, even during work, if you can. The tighter you are, I would advise to work on it more. And as you do this more frequently, you won't have, once you get those knots out and get those circulation and get some mobility in your ankles, you won't have to do this as frequent. All right, that's pretty much what I do for my soft tissue massages. So I use both a golf ball and a lacrosse ball and do that. Depending how bad your plantar fasciitis or how bad your mobility is, I would do this every day. Soft tissue massage before you go into your static and dynamic stretches. That'll help get those knots out of your muscles, and then you go into the static and dynamic. That's typically what I do for my feet, my ankles, my Achilles, my calves. So that's usually what I start with. So if you have any questions, leave me a comment. Like I said, these are perfect to do. Soft tissue massages, you can never do enough. So massage it. It helps with circulation and everything. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.